It's 3 p.m. on a Saturday. 200 guests are sitting in white chairs, staring at an empty altar. The bride? She's standing there in a $3,000 dress, holding a bouquet, waiting for a groom who's never coming. But here's the thing about Carol Rodriguez that nobody knew yet. She wasn't the type to cry and run away. She was the type to smile, wave at the crowd, and plan the most beautiful revenge story you've ever heard. This is how one woman turned the worst day of her life into the best decision she ever made. Let me take you back 18 months. Carol's scrolling through her phone at 2 a.m. when she gets a DM from someone named Thomas. Now, Thomas is not just any guy. He's got that perfect Instagram feed, designer clothes, gym selfies, pictures of him at charity galas. The man looked like he stepped out of a magazine. Their first date, he picks her up in a Tesla, takes her to this rooftop restaurant that costs more per plate than most people spend on groceries in a week. Carol's thinking, okay, this guy's serious. And Thomas, he's laying it on thick. Talks about how he's tired of shallow relationships, how he wants something real. He tells Carol about his marketing company, shows her pictures of his penthouse downtown. Everything's adding up perfectly. 6 months in, Thomas has practically moved into Carol's place, which is weird because his penthouse should be way nicer, but he always has some excuse. Oh, they're doing construction on my floor, the building's fumigating. Carol's too happy to question it. Then boom, 8 months in, Thomas proposes, gets down on one knee at the same restaurant where they had their first date, pulls out this gorgeous ring that probably cost more than Carol's car. The whole place erupts in applause. But here's where it gets interesting. Carol's a smart woman. She works in forensic accounting. She catches financial lies for a living. Yet somehow, she's missing all the red flags flying right in front of her face. Planning the wedding is where things get complicated. Carol's handling most of the deposits because Thomas's cash flow is tied up in a big business deal. She's putting down $15,000 for the venue, $8,000 for catering, $3,000 for flowers. Thomas keeps promising he'll reimburse her once his deal closes. 3 weeks before the wedding, Carol's at the venue doing a final walkthrough when the wedding planner pulls her aside. Honey, she says, I need to ask you something. That man you brought here last week, the one who said he was your fiancé, he was asking a lot of weird questions about our cancellation policy. Carol's blood runs cold. What kind of questions? Like, what happens to deposits if someone cancels last minute? Whether we've ever had runaway groom situations. It was odd. That night, Carol confronts Thomas. He laughs it off. Babe, I was just curious. You know how my brain works. I always think about worst-case scenarios for business. Carol wants to believe him. She's already sent the invitations. Her dress is hanging in the closet. Her parents flew in from Arizona. 2 weeks before the wedding, Thomas starts acting stranger. He's on his phone constantly, stepping outside to take calls. When Carol asks who he's talking to, he gets defensive. It's just work stuff. This deal is really stressful. 1 week before the wedding, Carol decides to surprise Thomas at his office. She's never been there, another red flag she missed, but she looked up the address online. She walks into the building, asks the receptionist for Thomas's office. The woman stares at her like she's speaking a foreign language. I'm sorry, who? We don't have anyone by that name working here. Carol's world tilts. She shows the woman Thomas's business card. The receptionist examines it and shakes her head. This address is correct, but this company name, I've never heard of it. Carol drives home in a daze. She's got two choices: confront Thomas and risk everything blowing up the night before their wedding, or wait and see what happens. She chooses option 3, investigate. Remember, Carol's a forensic accounting. She knows how to dig. She spends the entire night going through every piece of paper Thomas has ever left at her place. Credit card statements he forgot to take, a business receipt that fell out of his pocket, a sticky note with a phone number. By 5 a.m., Carol's pieced together the truth. Thomas isn't a successful marketing executive. He's a serial romance scammer who's been living off women for the past 3 years. The phone number on the sticky note? It belongs to a woman named Claire in Denver. Carol calls her. Oh my God, Claire says when Carol explains who she is. He did the same thing to me. Fake business, fake lifestyle, fake everything. I lost $30,000 before I figured it out. Turns out Thomas's real name is Jason Michaels, and he's got a whole system. He targets successful women, creates this elaborate fake life, gets them to pay for everything while he waits for a big business deal to close, then disappears right before he'd have to actually commit to anything permanent. Carol hangs up the phone and stares at her wedding dress hanging on the closet door. She's got a choice to make. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Carol's phone buzzes with a text from Thomas. "Hey babe, something's wrong with my car. Running a bit late. Don't worry, I'll be there." Carol stares at the message and laughs. Not a happy laugh. That dark, twisted laugh you get when you realize you're about to watch someone dig their own grave. She gets up, makes coffee, and starts getting ready. Hair, makeup, dress, the whole thing. Her bridesmaids keep asking if she's okay because she seems weirdly calm. "I'm perfect," Carol cows them, and she means it. 10 a.m. Traffic is insane. Might be 20 minutes late. 11 a.m. "So sorry, babe. Accident on the highway. Maybe 30 more minutes." Noon. "Almost there. Don't start without me. LOL." Carol's sitting in the bridal suite, fully dressed, watching the clock. Her phone keeps buzzing with increasingly frantic texts from Thomas, each excuse more ridiculous than the last. 1 p.m. "Car broke down. Getting an Uber. 10 minutes tops." 2 p.m. "Uber got lost. This is a nightmare. So sorry." 3 p.m. Nothing. Carol's maid of honor bursts into the room. What do you want to do? Everyone's getting restless out there." Carol stands up, smooths down her dress, and picks up her bouquet. "I want to get married." Carol walks down the aisle to 200 confused faces. The officiant looks like he's about to have a panic attack. The photographers are awkwardly trying to figure out where to point their cameras. Carol reaches the altar and turns to face the crowd. She takes a deep breath and starts talking. "Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I know you're probably wondering where Thomas is." The crowd murmurs. Carol's parents look mortified. "Well, I have some news. Thomas isn't coming. In fact, Thomas doesn't exist." Now the crowd's really confused. Carol pulls out her phone. "The man I was supposed to marry today is actually named Jason Michaels. He's a con artist who's been scamming women across the country for years. He's been living in my apartment, driving my car, and spending my money while pretending to be a successful businessman." The church goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Now, I could have just canceled the wedding and told you all to go home. But you know what? You all took time out of your lives to be here. You brought gifts, you got dressed up. You deserve a party. Carol gestures to her maid of honor, who hands her an envelope. "So instead of marrying Jason, I'm going to read you all the letter I wrote to his next victim, because I found out he's already got one lined up in Miami." Carol opens the envelope and starts reading. "Dear Sarah Martinez, yes, I know your name, and yes, I know Thomas contacted you 3 weeks ago. His real name is Jason Michaels. He's 34 years old, and everything he's told you is a lie." The crowd is eating this up now. People are pulling out their phones, recording everything. The Tesla he drives? It's mine. The business he owns? Fake. The penthouse he lives in? He's been sleeping on my couch for 8 months. Carol folds up the letter and looks at the crowd. But here's the beautiful part. Jason thinks he's won. He thinks he's pulled off the perfect scam. He's probably halfway to Miami right now, planning to do the same thing to Sarah that he did to me. Carol pulls out another piece of paper. "Except I've already contacted Sarah, and Claire in Denver, and Rebecca in Portland, and 8 other women across the country. We've all filed reports with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Jason's not running toward his next victim. He's running straight into a federal investigation." The crowd erupts in applause. Carol's not done. "But wait," Carol says, holding up her hand. "It gets better." She gestures to a man in the front row that nobody really noticed before. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet Detective Rodriguez from the LAPD Financial Crimes Division. He's been working with the SBI on romance scam cases. And today, instead of having a wedding reception, we're having a press conference." The detective stands up and waves to the crowd. Carol continues. See, it turns out Jason isn't just scamming women out of money. He's also been committing identity theft, credit card fraud, and filing false tax returns. The FBI estimates he's stolen over $400,000 from victims across 12 states. Carol's phone buzzes. She looks at it and grins. Oh, and I just got a text from Agent Martinez at the FBI. Jason was arrested 20 minutes ago at LAX, trying to board a flight to Cabo. Apparently, he was planning to skip the Miami girlfriend and head straight to Mexico. The crowd is going absolutely wild now. Carol's parents look like they don't know whether to be proud or horrified. So here's what we're going to do, Carol announces. We're going to go to the reception, eat the $8,000 worth of food I paid for, dance to the $2,000 worth of music I booked, and celebrate the fact that a dangerous criminal is off the streets. She pauses for dramatic effect. And then we're going to start a support group for romance scam victims, because apparently there are a lot more of us than I thought. 6 months later, Carol's sitting in a coffee shop across from a producer from Netflix. Turns out her wedding day speech went viral. Someone posted it on TikTok and it got 12 million views in 2 weeks. We want to make a documentary, the producer says, about romance scams and how victims are fighting back. Carol's already 3 steps ahead. The support group she started has grown to over 500 members across the country. They've helped law enforcement solve dozens of cases and recover over $2 million in stolen money. Here's the thing, Carol tells the producer. This isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. She pulls out her laptop and shows him a spreadsheet because, remember, she's a forensic accountant and she loves spreadsheets. We've identified 47 men running romance scams across the U.S. We've got their real names, their fake identities, their social media profiles, and their victim lists. We've basically built a database that law enforcement can use to shut down these operations. The producer's eyes light up. This is bigger than we thought. Way bigger. And the best part? Thomas, is cooperating with the FBI. He's giving up the names of other scammers in exchange for a reduced sentence. It's like dominoes falling. Carol closes her laptop and leans back in her chair. You know what the funny thing is? Jason thought he was playing me, but the whole time, I was gathering evidence for a case I didn't even know I was building. Today, Carol runs a nonprofit organization called Love Scam Recovery. She helps victims of romance fraud recover financially and emotionally from their experiences. She's testified before Congress about the need for stronger online dating regulations. She's been featured on 60 Minutes, Good Morning America, and about 50 true crime podcasts. And Jason? He's serving 4 years in federal prison for wire fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. He'll be eligible for parole in 2 years, but he'll also have to pay restitution to all his victims, which, by the FBI's count, totals just over $600,000. Carol never got married, but she did get something better. She got her power back. People always ask me if I regret not seeing the red flags, Carol says in her TED Talk that now has 3 million views. But here's what I tell them. The red flags weren't the problem. The problem was that I was looking for love in someone who was incapable of giving it. She pauses and looks at the audience. But you know what I found instead? I found my purpose. I found my voice. And I found out that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the setup for the best thing that ever happens to you. The crowd erupts in a standing ovation. Oh, and one more thing, Carol adds with a grin. I kept the wedding dress. It's hanging in my office now with a sign that says, "Never again." It's my daily reminder that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Because this is real life and real life is messier than movies, here's the kicker. Carol eventually did find love. Not with some perfect guy who swept her off her feet, but with Dr. Brooke, the FBI's leading expert on financial crimes who helped build the case against Jason. They met during the investigation, bonded over spreadsheets and evidence files, and realized they made a pretty good team. They've been together for 2 years now. Brooke sees my brain the way it actually works, Carol says. He thinks my obsession with details is sexy, not annoying. And the best part? Brooke proposed to Carol at the same venue where Carol was supposed to marry Jason, except this time, both brides showed up. The wedding was beautiful, the reception was perfect, and Carol's toast to the crowd was simple. Jason, meanwhile, is still in prison. He's apparently found religion and wants to apologize to all his victims. Carol's response when she heard this? He can apologize to his cellmate. I'm busy. And that, my friends, is how you turn the worst day of your life into the first day of your real life.